Aaron Rodgers is allegedly foregoing a little bit over $93,000.
Whoa.
He's not going to mandatory minicamp. He's never done this before. Adam Schefter said this morning on Get Up that as of this morning, his sources have told him, Ty,
he is strong as hell in his position to just stay away.
Strong, and then Schefter follows up, by the way, with take that however you want.
Yeah.
That's basically, he said, I am not... He was trying to say, I'm not putting any narrative on this at all. I think Schefter, the guy is sources everywhere. He is who he is for a reason. He is Schefter. He goes, I was told it's strong as hell in his position. So listen, I'm not saying it sounds like he's not going to matter the Packers. That's what Schefter basically was saying. But you can listen to whatever I was told and you make your own judgment. Is almost what Schefter was doing. You make your own judgment.
Right.
I'm not going to do this for you. And this is something now that leads into, are the Green Bay Packers going to fine him? This $93,000 and some change? Are they gonna? He's already missed out on a $500,000 bonus, which if you a certain percentage of OTAs, I assume it's like 80% of OTAs or maybe 85%, maybe it's 100. I have no idea what it is. Andrew Brandt started that in Green Bay because guys would never spend their off seasons in Green Bay. They'd rather go somewhere else. Hey, I don't like it. I love Green Bay. I would have stayed up there. John Kuhn moved up there.
That's right.
But they put that in there. He's already missed out on $500,000. They could fine him another $93,000 in whatever, $500 or whatever. But they could also opt out of fining him the $93,000 and some change. And this is the first time in the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers saga that we are going to have to see a public decision made by both parties. Okay? Green Bay fines Aaron Rodgers the $93,000. And at this point, $93,000, by the way, a lot of money. Okay? Would have dreamed of $93,000. A lot of, like that is, but in this grand scheme of conversation that we're talking about, $93,000 is a tax in one county in what they're going to be talking about at some point. I mean, this is not that significant of an amount of money. But in the report, the accumulation report that Schefter did on draft day, if we do recall, we didn't know it was an accumulation report at the time. We thought it was
today's the
coming
day.
out this morning. The last paragraph or two was basically explaining how the Packers have tried to do everything, 3 different trips out to Aaron in Malibu, trying to make it right. One with LaFleur, one with Gunther Kuntz, one with Murphy. And then it seemed like it was the Green Bay Packers people leaking that information to Schefter. He has never said that was true. This is just me reading it and having a brain. It sounded like the Green Bay Packers wanted it to sound like they were doing everything we can to make it right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they had a clue about the amount of fuck-ups that they have done maybe, or maybe they were just blind to it, or maybe they did know it and they were like, okay, at this point, we have to try and make this right as much as we can. But if they elect to fine him the $93,000, which, by the way, they definitely can, and if they had 99.99% attendance at OTAs, which I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be, and he was the only person missing. I'm sure there were some teammates that would be like, hey, he's got to handle his business, but part of the business is getting fined too. So now, like, viewing it from outside of the whole thing, I don't know what side I'm on, but I do know if they fine him and he has to write a check. This would be the first time he's writing, not potential earnings like the $500,000 OTA. That is money that is not in his pocket, okay? Not the potential $30 million or whatever's left.
Yep.
That money is not coming. The $6.8 million that has to come out of his pocket that they could get back from a signing bonus if he decides to retire or doesn't play there or whatever, that's him having to write a check. This $93,000 is him having to write a check. So I think this is the first time where if they do find him and he has to write a check, let's assume that that's not going to go swimmingly. But if they choose not to fine him this money and they're going to make it public, that'll be something that they will very much make public for their fans, for their stance in the potential battle that they're having right now. They're babyface then, if they do that. After all this stuff. And then Aaron, whatever happens with him doesn't happen. He's heel all of a sudden. That's a babyface move. I assume they will eat the $93,000 money that they could get from Aaron in lieu of looking like, hey, we are trying to do. We could have fined him $93,000. That's nothing. $93,000. It's a lot of money, obviously, but that's not. We chose not to do it. This is a scene now that I think we can get a real tell for how things are happening behind closed doors that we haven't really got a glimpse at. And to be honest, That's much more exciting than any fucking thing that Aaron could do on the field. But this is going to tell us a lot, I think, here.
Yeah, it's like the last-ditch effort pretty much, right? Because if they go down that road, then like you said, it probably is completely over. And maybe you could see them doing it because now all these different reports are coming out, one from Schefter, and then Bob Domofsky doubles down on it and says, like...
What, Bob? Bob said something?
He said, according to his sources, like, Aaron is very dug in about not coming back here.
Strong as hell.
Yeah, strong as hell, if you will. So, like, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, and it does seem like, Mark Murphy alluded to the fans being divided already the other day.
Now, I think the quote, when it's pulled out, does look a lot more like Mark Murphy saying he's fucking tearing apart our thing, But I think in the overall context, I think Mark Murphy was attempting to state the obvious, but in doing so, I think he also set up the TV's people to be like,
sure.
Hey, Mark Murphy has to know that that's the way that's going to get taken too, So it's like, if you're Aaron, did he not think that was obviously going to get? I was going to get smeared to, or maybe Aaron doesn't even know, by the way. Aaron might not know that any of this is happening. I heard Bill Burr say it one time. They said, how do you deal with getting canceled? And he basically said, like, if you don't look, you don't get canceled.
What do you mean?
By who? By who, he said. And what, like, if you don't see, it's like, it's one of those things, maybe Aaron just has no idea what the entire feeling is of the whole situation. I'd assume he has to at this point.
You would think.
But Mark Murphy had to have known that was going to get used immediately after writing that. And how does that whole thing play out? This is Real Housewives here, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is real. Hey, this is controversy. This is drama.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
Let's put this on TNT. They know drama. The thought of this is a massive storyline, though, because you're talking about a team that could completely stink or potentially be in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
It is wild times, I assume, for Green Bay Packers fans.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, at this point, I don't know why anyone would expect him to show up or come back. I held out, and like I said, like last week, I thought he would end up playing this season and then be gone after next year. But who knows? I mean, I asked you before the show, like, do you think is 93,000, like, if they don't find him, is that enough of like a show of good faith, you think, for him to just drop everything?
I don't know.
Adamantly, time and time again, been like, nah, these guys have pissed me off. Like, I'm done.
And is Schefter saying this like, hey, Rodgers is holding strong because the Packers, want him to know that, get that word out. So when they do find him 93K, it's like, hey, he's holding strong. We got to hold strong on our stance as well. And we have to find him because he's doing this to the team and the fan base.
He's already saying he's not coming back, basically. Strong as hell. Bob Domofsky saying things. So, I mean, we would like his money back then, too. I just seen a tweet. Somebody sent me a tweet. And it's, I don't know if this is real or not, but I assume people that are tweeting me, are telling the truth about this type of thing. I guess Colin Cowherd just said, talking about the Aaron Rodgers situation, he said A.J. Hawk said that this was mendable or something like that. Now, obviously, you've been an insider for the insiders on this Aaron Rodgers situation. Not as deep inside as Miles Teller, but really close there. I think you and Takatari could be in a tie there and Kuhn as well. For what are you hearing? Okay, because this morning, Adam Schefter said on Get Up, he's strong as hell in his convictions right now. More, just as much as he was before. Bobbert Domofsky, ESPN Green Bay Packers, said, there ain't nothing changed. Okay, he's still there. It doesn't matter if it's mandatory or not. Have you heard anything? And does this mandatory minicamp mean anything at all in your eyes in the grand scheme of things?
No, mandatory minicamp means zero. I would have been very surprised if he actually came. Like, why? With everything going on, what's he going to come because he's worried about being fined $93,000? That's something that will get erased if he does come back and they work out a contract. Like, that's nothing. It's not going to happen.
Do you think there's anything to them either choosing to fine him or not fine him, the $93,000, in a public display of, hey, we're trying to do everything we can? Do you think that means anything?
I mean, I don't think it would help if you apply the fine to him. No, it's not going to help anybody. Is it?
Well, I think this is the first time where he's going to have to write money out. Now, if they get a deal done, it'll obviously be a part. It'll be awesome if he signs for $150 million and $93,000. Yeah. Like that'd be awesome if that happened. But this is the real first time where it's not future earnings. You know, like this is the first time where it's actual money that could. And if they want a baby face, the Packers, they could just easily go, we're obviously not going to fine Aaron Rodgers for everything he has done for us. We are not going to fine him. He's never missed a camp before. This is the first time. Got to experience. We would never do that. If they would do that, then that's really starting to continue to do what they allegedly attempted to do with the accumulation of information that was dropped on draft night whenever it was said they're flying out individually. You know, they're really getting, that would help that whole story, I think, personally. Now, we're also talking about something that is not a big deal at all because it's the only thing to talk about, and it's the MVP of the NFL, potentially not being with one of the most historic franchises after 16 years or whatever. But that is something I think that does change this particular situation to what it has been, you know?